I remember eating a $50 strawberry once. Not for like a box, but one singular, and they call it polished strawberry.
Wow.
Hello and welcome to the Abroad in Japan podcast. Probably the best way of learning about life in Japan without actually being in Japan. I'm your host, Chris Broader. We're joined as always by England's top Japan enthusiast, Mr. Pete Donaldson himself. Pete, how the devil are you doing? What's going on over there?
Oh, loads of stuff. I don't know, to be honest, Chris. I've just woken up. I have got the song. Is it Tinashe? Nasty Girl, that song that was all over TikTok. I've been a nasty girl, nasty. I've been nasty. That's what I've got in my head. I don't know why. I don't know what kind of dreams I've had, but clearly they were nasty.
There's a really awful song going around at the moment. Megan the Stallion, is that how you pronounce it?
Stallion, yeah.
The Stallion, and a Japanese rapper, and it goes
right.
Okane kasegu. Watashi wa star. Literally,
Nice.
I'm earning money, I'm a star. And it's like on all the TikToks. And we were hanging out with Natsuki, filming with him. And we were going to have him like say the lines and throw some money in there, like Okane kasegu, watashi wa star. It's like, it's the lamest fucking rap. And then she just keeps going, star, star, star.
Well,
over and over
she's
again.
learning a bit of Japanese, isn't it? It's good that she's learning a bit of Japanese. I would say that, like, Natsuki is, I mean, obviously, as you found out, having him in one of your rap videos.
He's a star.
He's a star. And, yeah, I think you'd add a lot to something like that, doing a little bit of rap on the side.
It would be fun.
At the end of every kind of, like, stanza, having Natsuki just, throwing up a gang sign and shouting, go fuck yourself. I think it would fit in every... I'd have, like, a Chrome plugin that would do that on every YouTube video that I watched on YouTube Music. Just have a little Natsuki in the corner. Back in, like, the 90s, there used to be this... it was kind of like a desktop... I'm going to say desktop stripper. And it was like a little kind of program that you would install. I mean, I must admit, I never did, but there was always adverts for it all over the internet of like gyrating ladies in the corner of your sort of Windows screen, and they'd always be there just dancing around, and it's just such a weird sort of product, and you just never hear anybody talk about it anymore. But it was very much. It was a simpler time. It was a Virtua Girl HD time. And I don't know what that's for, because surely if you're busy doing documents or doing your taxes or whatever, you don't need the distractions. I don't know what... It's just reminding you that pornography exists at every step of the way. Weird.
What a time to be alive it was.
I remember to be alive.
My favourite thing in the 90s was defragmenting my disk drive, where you just like have to press a button, and it made your computer good again, because your computer would be messed up from everywhere, with the files being everywhere. You'd have to like manually like do this process where it organised all your folders and papers and documents, right? I don't know if Windows still does that, because I use Apple these days. I've betrayed Microsoft.
The hard drives, I think the hard drives, automatically look at every chunk, every kilobyte of data and goes, does it give you joy? And it tidies it away if it does give you joy, and if it doesn't, it throws it away. I think because of the... it's all on memory chips now, isn't it? It's all solid-state media, so I don't think we need them quite so much, but I'm sure somebody in the YouTube comments will say, Peter, you still need to defragment. I was like, well...
It created so many jobs, though, didn't it? It created so many jobs in the IT industry for people who wanted to pretend like they were repairing a computer for like an elderly person, like, the computer's not working. Oh, you need to defragment your drive. You haven't defragmented it. That'll be £500 to tell you that information. The amount of jobs it must have created, that one tool.
That's for the Virtua Girls. That's where the Virtua Girls ended up.
Yes, indeed.
They became self IT professionals.
A simpler time. But
a simpler time.
As he woke up at 5:30, I went to bed at 5:30. So
Chris.
It's one person falls asleep, another awakens on the other side of the world, because I was working. I finally got the video out about the bar. So you haven't seen it yet because you've just woken up, but it's out now, guys. If you want to see what
I have seen it. I saw it last night before I went to bed. Actually, I thought I'm going to do my homework. I'm going to watch 75% of it, and then I'm going to drop off to sleep. Thank you very much.
Good man. What do you think of the bar? From what you saw.
I mean, did we... had I seen it when we spoke about it last time? I am very surprised that it looks like a proper bar. I thought it was going to be spit and sawdust, Natsuki in the corner just hosing himself down with JD and Cokes. It looks like a proper bar. It looks like a proper establishment that you would be proud to take a date, lover or associate.
Yes, Pete, there's a great scene in the video where Pete goes on a hypothetical date. He's like, it's lovely to see you, and I forgot my wallet. But Natsuki's got the killer line. Do you see the bit where Natsuki does a mock proposal in the love seat, and he's like, he says, I want to marry. Do you want? It was just the most aggressive proposal. But
I want to get hitched. Want to hitch?
I want to get married. Do you want? But it was nice. All the reactions from Pete, Natsuki, Connor. Connor was like, I thought it was going to be shit, which is lovely, Connor. It's always the same thing. I remember giving him a tour of the studio, right? And I don't know what he was expecting with this studio tour. And I remember wheeling him in and taking the blind off where he pulled his hands down. He was like, whoa, what the fuck? When I said I had a set, I think he thought I had like a piece of paper behind a chair. So that was my favourite reaction to this place, followed by the bar.
In your video where you are at the very start of your bar video, I genuinely thought it was green screen. Do you know what I mean? Like the background. Well, the background just seemed so kind of like it seemed like you were moving in a different kind of register to everything in the background. And then suddenly you pull back and you're actually in the bar. And I thought, oh, he's had to green screen this. I mean, it's a good green screen, but it's still not. Oh no, he's in the bar. I'm an idiot. I don't know what I'm talking about. Never mind.
Yes. No, it does look a bit green screeny, I'll admit. Yeah, the blurring and whatnot. But yeah, really cool bar though. Off to a good start. I'm a little bit worried that because of the video, it'll be a really busy week for the team on the staff. A good problem to have, I guess. But yeah, if you're in Tokyo, swing by. Recommended to get in early, between 2 and 5. It seems to be quieter than in the evening. But yeah, thanks to everyone.
Absolutely raging after that. Then it closes at 10, doesn't it? It's,
it closes at 11 now, and I think it'll probably close at 12 soon. We're changing the times more and more. Originally, the plan was to open at like 11 a.m. and then shut at midnight, and I don't know if that's still happening, but that would be cool. I love drinking at 11 a.m. Yes, let's make it happen. British culture in the heart of Japan. We got a story.
Full year of health kick. You have a full year of health kick. You open a bar. Worst, like an old baseball star, like an old wrestler. I don't know.
Need to get back on the bike, don't I? We got a story this week from John, who says, Dear Chris and Pete, my friend and I were in Tokyo last April, taking a few days to explore the city before heading up for a drifting adventure at Ebisu Circuit in Fukushima. Wow. Being car enthusiasts, we heard that McDonald's was doing a promotion where you could win a gold GR Yaris drift car toy. We got less good by the second, didn't it? I was like, wow, a GR Yaris. Oh, wait, it's a toy and a Happy Meal. A GR Yaris drift car toy in a Happy Meal. I got lucky, and I got one on my first try, but my friend kept getting fire trucks, ambulances, and police cars. I decided to sacrifice myself and partake in another Happy Meal to help him with the odds. Fast forward to a few hours later, and I started to feel very ill. So much so that we had to hop off the train we were on so that I could get some fresh air. My friend, sensing that I needed to get back quickly, hailed a nearby cab rather than waiting for the next train. Suddenly and unhappily, don't worry, I'll spare the gruesome details, I knew that I would be seeing the Happy Meals once again. I only had time to wind down the window, to minimise the messy catastrophe. Thankfully, we were almost right by the hotel, so the driver took us the final stretch. My friend and I were both apologising profusely, and when we paid our fare, we left a substantial tip, well deserved, after such a awkward and messy encounter. Needless to say, he accepted it without any argument. Unfortunately, my friend never did get the Yaris toy. Keep up the great shows. John. Messy John. Oh, crikey. That's not good. I've never had that after a Happy Meal. What was in that Happy Meal? God forbid.
It sounds like he's had too many Happy Meals. And,
yes.
Much like a Pez dispenser, something has to give. A brick of pure Happy Meal has to pop out the top. I would say that, the taxi driver could have done some drifting to get him home quicker. So, there we go. And, I mean, it's a weird situation. Could you not have just popped round the back of the McDonald's and sort of went, look, if I give you $10, could you just give me the GT Yaris, please?
I remember we used to do that in the UK. People loved Happy Meal collecting shit in the UK, right? And I remember, my mum would do that. She'd be like, oh, my son, he's got the the fucking rocket toy, but he needs the car. Can I, if I give you this, can you just
Mummy, go and get that toy for me, Mummy.
Spoiled
I
brat.
will not. I'm going to raise merry hell if you don't get me that toy.
If I don't get my rocket ship, I'm going to Japan. But no, I remember. Yeah, it wasn't just my mum. I remember everyone's mum would like barter and take the toys and try and switch them until you got the ones you wanted. It was a simpler time. I'm just going to keep saying that. It was the 90s.
It was a crazy croco time.
Well, speaking of simple times, it's not a simple time anymore. It's very confusing because this week's story nearly broke my head when I read the bloody headline. Pete, what on earth's going on? Something about pears.
It is something about pears, and there's a man in Ibaraki who cannot get enough of those pears. He's been involved in stealing literally thousands of pears. In early August, Ibaraki Prefectural Police received information that there may be a foreigner without legal permission to stay in Japan who was living in an out-of-business hotel in the town of Kasama. When investigators went to search the hotel, they found an unemployed 31-year-old Vietnamese man and also approximately, get this, 1,800 pears.
The dickens.
When questioned, the man admitted to stealing the fruit from orchards in the town's Argo district. With pear season approaching, many varieties are already edible, but most aren't at their peak deliciousness quite yet, so farmers are leaving them on the branch to ripen just a little bit more. So this man stole around 3,000 pears over 2 mornings with the intent to resell them. The total value of the fruit stolen is estimated at around about $6,000. I looked for people on social media in Japan Vietnamese community who wanted to buy some pears and resold them. While pilfering pears may not sound as glamorous as targeting diamonds or works of fine art, steal enough of them, 3,000 of them, and you're talking, thousands and thousands of pounds. And apparently the man possibly wasn't the only man involved in the pear theft. It just seems like it would take a long time. Yeah, it would take a long time to get these pears off the trees. It's not like
at a time.
Pop up, give the tree a kick, and they all fall down into your bag. I mean, it just sounds like a lot of work.
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, it is a bit Breath of the Wild, isn't
it? I saw when I read this headline, I pictured a man one at a time sneaking pears into his rucksack or something, his satchel. But clearly, he must have just got off with a whole crate. $6,000 worth of pears, though. There's better things to steal, surely.
Well, apparently there's been these pear heists happening all over Japan, and a lot of Ibaraki cities, Chichira and Chikase, last month, apparently loads of pears went missing there as well. So they're basically saying that there might be possible connections to this pear thief. It reminds me of German Rick Ross came online with a video basically saying how much he loves pears. He sort of said, he basically, because Rick Ross, I mean, I think even he'd admit that he's not necessarily the figure of fitness, is he? He's a big old lad. And, did he die? I can't remember. But either way, he basically said, I am eating healthy, actually. People think I don't eat healthy. I'm eating a lot of pears. Shout out to all the pears. So shout out to all the pears. Shout out to all the pear thefts. And shout out to the Vietnamese community inside Japan. I hope you have a sweet morning.
I mean, to be fair, I forget that Japan is like the most expensive fruit on the planet, right? Because they're like highly cultivated and prized. Like I remember eating a $50 strawberry once, not for like a box, but one singular, and they call it polished strawberry, Miyagi Ichigo. And it was like it was the most incredible strawberry. Like, it was so fleshy. The outer skin was so fleshy, and then juicy and sweet. And then there's grapes, right? Grapes in the UK cost like £3 or £4 or whatever, but in Japan, you get £20 grapes, like $20-30 for a box of grapes. But they're like perfectly cultivated grapes, the Ferrari of grapes. And Japan doesn't dick about with pears either. Nashi are highly prized, very very juicy, very sweet. My pears in the UK, I sound like, what am I becoming? Oh, Japanese pears are so much better. But I will say,
I mean, they are though, aren't they? I mean, they're not
mass
as much
market.
of a. Yeah, I mean, a lot of there will be brands that are mass market, but then there's ones that just, they're for the more discerning pear enthusiasts. They're for your Rick Rosses of this world.
Well, what I'll say is, I do find I ate fruit more in the UK because while it's not as good, it's not like god tier fruit. It's at a reasonable price point, so I'd actually eat things like grapes more often. Whereas in Japan, it's like, oh, do I want to spend all my pocket money on a grape or one strawberry? They are, fruit, groceries, vegetables in Japan definitely higher than the UK from my experience. So, yeah,
they should have in Japan. They should have premium juice as well. You have.
Oh, they do. Yeah.
I mean, what's our best one? Tropicana, Tropicana with bits in. We need one in Japan that's 20 quid for a carton of compressed grape juice or something. Oh, lovely.
Well, Yamagata Prefecture is famous for its fruit and its juice. Actually, the fruit juice is amazing. Again, quite pricey, like three quid a can, and quite a small can. But it is the best fruit juice you'll ever have. Whenever I pass the Yamagata, I get a pear and a apple flavored fruit drink, and it's they don't put any crap in it. They just take the pure fruit, they pulp it and press it, put it into the can, and it's incredible. Once you've had it, there's no going back to Tropicana and the sugary shit that goes inside those drinks. But
if you've got a sweet tooth, Japan is just the best.
It is very good.
People talk about the umami flavours and stuff, but
umami flavours.
It's just the sugar. They just get the sugar right, man.
I've been working on a video about Japanese food, big one's coming out later in September. And the amount of times I'm the umami flavour. Oh yes, umami flavour. And it's there must be better ways to describe Japanese food, but there isn't. Everyth's umami, except the pears. Don't steal the pears, but do come to Japan.
I do love a mushroom.
We'll be back in a moment, guys, with the stories, comments and questions. Over in the fax machine.
Wow.
Now we're back with the fax machine. What do we got this week from our listeners, Mr. Dawson? Take us away. Take us away. Take it away.
Take it all away. Alfie G's got in touch. Hello, Cyclops Chris and Puny Pete. I recently finished watching the BBC series Race Across the World, where contestants backpack from one point to another across thousands of kilometres with minimal money and no directions. In this series, they started from Sapporo, Hokkaido in Japan. It got me wondering, is it relatively easy to backpack across Japan on a shoestring budget and explore the country without the use of the speedy Shinkansen? How easy is it for foreigners or even Japanese travellers to pick up local work for some pocket change? The show was great, but I was wondering how viable that sort of trip really would be. Love the podcast, been listening since day. Alfie G. I mean, you got the buses, haven't you? I'm not sure about the work. I'm not sure that would be quite so easy.
Yeah, and you can hitchhike as well. People do it. Although I do know a good friend of mine, Regan. I remember he tried to hitchhike in Nagoya one time. He stood by a main road for 2 hours with a sign, and nobody picked him up. And he was he didn't look like a murderer. He looked very nice, so I was very surprised. But when we did the first cycle, Con and I, from Hokkaido's most northern point to Hakodate, we ran into a guy who was backpacking from Wakkanai, Japan's most northern point, all the way to Kagoshima, and I think he was doing it on practically a no budget. I think he even had a tent. I think he was just sleeping in fields, which is something you don't want to do in Hokkaido in the height of autumn when there's bears looking for their last supper before they go into hibernation. But I think it's not too bad if you're not using bullet trains, for sure. You can do it. I need to check this out though. That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool that they did this show in Hokkaido and in Sapporo, so I'll have to check this out. Surprised we haven't heard of this before. Apparently, they get a budget. Race Across the World contestants get a travel budget of equivalent airfare. They had £1,300 to spend on their 15,000-kilometre trip from Sapporo to the island of Gili Meno off Lombok in Indonesia. I don't think I butchered the name of the island too badly, but
no, sorry.
That's cool. I wonder how they got there.
Is that the one with Scott Mills in? I think he was in one of the series. I find Scott Mills quite tedious.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
I couldn't watch this. I just simply couldn't watch it.
We got one here from poor old Scott Mills. What's he ever done to you? We got one here from Nicholas. He says, Konnichiwa, lads. After hearing horror stories of the Japanese summer from everyone and their mum, and briefly experiencing it myself, I'm torn. I desperately want to see the Nebuta and Tachi Nebuta festival in Aomori, but they take place in the beginning of August. Is a trip to more mountainous regions and Hokkaido a way to cool down after melting in the suffocating heat? All the best, Nicholas. Yes, Nicholas. It's now September, and I'm very excited to no longer live on the surface of the sun. I'm so excited for the temperature to drop after what's felt like the longest sort of 2 months of my life. And I would not recommend going to Japan July or August. You know, it's not fun. You can't go outside.
If nothing else, the amazing amount of rain that you've been having the past couple of weeks.
And that as well, yeah. But, it's kind of a shame because all the festivals do happen in August, right? They do happen in August. And I've never been to the Tachinepita Festival myself because I usually get out of town and flee Japan in the August months, so in the summer months. But yeah, it's one of those. It's a trade-off, isn't it? Personally, I'd rather miss the Nepeta Festival and come here in October in a much more manageable time. Otherwise, yeah, you're going to spend a lot of your trip just gulping down Pocari sweat and hiding under an air conditioning unit, and that's no holiday to Japan, is it? One last question. Howdy, Chris and Pete. I'm finally heading back to Japan. My last trip was around 8 years ago. I'm taking my friend who has been wanting to go for forever. But with all the recent storms and typhoons, it's probably good to prepare some indoor activities and spots to visit for rainy day options. Any places you'd recommend going to get out or enjoy the rain? Big C from Rhode Island. Pete, you've been indoors in Japan. Tell us where you recommend.
In a lot of amusement arcades, for some reason, downstairs you'll occasionally see like a big pool, and you can do your own fishing. Do your own little sports fishing for a couple of hours.
Where have you been?
Have you seen them? It's like in these amusement arcades. I've mainly seen them in Osaka, but if you are a man or a woman who or whatever who would prefer, who enjoys a little bit of sport fishing, go into an amusement arcade. Sometimes they have these big pools, and you can sit there and try and lure in fish for some reason, and you can win prizes.
This isn't
I don't know why.
You
can't take away the fish. You can't take away the fishies.
Made it up.
Can't take away the fishies, I believe. You just got to, I caught the big fish. Or go to one of those baseball practicing parks. Yeah. You know, those ones that are indoors that have those baseball machines that just fire balls at you and you absolutely whack them. Have you ever seen like people testing out baseball bats before? Like
I have
people
not.
who really know how to strike a baseball. I mean, it's astonishing stuff. Like seeing. I know, like willow on some kind of other wood. What do they make the cricket balls out of? Whatever. Cricket ball on cricket bat is really a lovely noise when you hit it sweetly. But that kind of like slightly hollow sort of noise that you get from a baseball bat is just absolutely lovely. Swinging for the fences. Bang. Wow.
Don't want to get in your
summary,
way.
do that. In summary, do
It's
that.
a good suggestion, though. Yeah, I mean, there's a chain of places called Round One.
Right.
And I remember first time I went to Morioka in Iwate, we went to Round One and just, you could do batting. They've got one of those, like, rodeo things where you, like, ride the cow and it gets more and more progressively shit until you get thrown off out of a window. Round One's good. There's also Bagus, or however it's pronounced.
Ooh.
I like the name Bagus, but it's like a darts and pool place in the middle of Shibuya. I used to go there with Joey quite a lot, and it was fun times. It was the best of times. You should get a pool table in the bar. That'd be good, wouldn't it? Get rid of half the seats and just stick a pool table in the middle.
A pool table. We're now a pool hall with
Love
one
a good
pool table.
Love a good pool table and some baseball bats.
Have you thought of darts? Have you thought of darts? Like I can't remember the company who makes the digital darts games. That's something that I cannot get enough of out in Japan.
It's a sophisticated cocktail bar. Do you think having a darts board is going to end well for anyone?
Well, you heard it here first. If you see a dartboard in there, things aren't going well for Chris. Chris is panicking. He's taking my advice on board.
Please come to my bar.
Come play darts with me.
Yeah. Keep the stories, questions, comments coming in to abroadjapanpodcast@gmail.com or leave a comment below. I know you said leave a dartboard below. Leave a comment below on YouTube.
If you like darts, let us know. Shout out to all the darts, yeah?
Oh, man. But for now, guys, have yourself a great week. We'll see you right back here to do it over again on the Abroad Japan Dartboard Podcast. Bye for now.
Bye for now. Delicious darts.